Shelton, do you think that's as sharp as Bailey's fastball execution has looked so far this year?
Yeah, I think coming into the game, we talked pregame about what would be the difference maker, and it was fastball execution. And I mean, to go through 8 right-handed hitters, especially the caliber of that group at the top, and arguably one of the best left-handed hitters in baseball, and gave up 2 hits, he was outstanding.
Fundamentally, what wrong in the top of the ninth there with either Tatis getting to second on the ground ball in between the third and short, or just anything that might have stood out to you as a reason why?
Fundamentally, I don't think anything. He hit a ground ball that was a hustle double. I mean, you saw a superstar make a couple superstar plays. Then he got a really good read and stole third and scored on a ball that went about 10 feet away. And I think you saw all of Fernando Tatis' athleticism right there. I mean, the 9th inning came down to they hit a ground ball that turned into a double. Chirillo hit a rocket that Bogarts made a play on, and Reynolds hit a bullet right at Manny, and it turned into a double play. I mean, we just didn't get a ball to go our way.
It was a sort of frustrating scene. There was a lot of hard contact. You could just see the disappointment in the guys' faces, considering the runners didn't score in position.
Yeah, I mean, Reynolds hit the one ball to the deep part of the ballpark and didn't get anything from it. Tree hit another ball to the wall. Like, we got to get a couple balls to fall, and we did not today. So, I mean, we had some situations early with 2 outs and didn't get a big hit, and that ended up being magnified.
Why do you think you would have been able to get the balls to fall? This has been kind of a repeated things.
I wish I had a good answer for that, Kevin. I don't.
Would you see
for a pitcher on a day like this? I mean, Bailey pitched it probably as well as he has the whole time he's been here, and ended up having not much show.
Yeah, I mean, challenging because you're delayed an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes, or whatever it was, and then to go out and pitch as well as he did. I mean, that's all he can do. Control what he can control, and he did a really good job of executing pitches throughout the entire game. I mean, essentially he made one bad pitch. I mean, it looked like it was a cutter or slider to Manny, and but other than that, I thought he was pretty much in total control.
Kind of going off what Kevin had said, this team leads the majors in double plays hit into. Is there anything that you've seen that has led to that statistic?
Well, I mean, the obvious answer would be too many balls on the ground, but overall, no, I don't think there's anything that led to that. I mean, we've tried to execute some hit and runs. We maybe have to continue to do that depending on the situation, depending on who's pitching. But yeah, I mean, it's just something I don't have a good answer for why that stat is so high.
Did some guys maybe be pressing or trying to do a little too much when that hit regarded this morning because he just had to come?
Yeah, I think that always happens. When you're not scoring as many runs as you want, guys can continue to press. I mean, I thought today we had some decent. I mean, we hit into one double play ball today that Joey hit a hard ground ball to Manny. That it's almost the same ball that Tatis hit. It was just a step more to Key's left than that one. It ends up being a double play. I mean, Brian lines into one. Sometimes it's just the way it goes.
What did you see in the 3rd inning when Valdez got thrown out at home?
I mean, it's 2 outs. You got to make a perfect play on a wet field, and kid made a good throw.
Shelton, I know Tannerini was warming up in the bullpen. If he would have been able to go tonight, what does a guy like that provide to that pen?
Just, I mean, depth. He's a guy that's pitching in the big leagues. He's pitched in leverage situations. So, he threw the ball well in spring training. It's nice to add him to our bullpen.
Does it seem like teams are starting to pitch around O'Neill? I mean, he went 1 for 1 with 4 walks today.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could look at pitch around, or he's doing a good job of executing his plan. I mean, you can look at it 2 ways. Okay, he's being pitched around, or they're trying to get him to chase, and he's not chasing, and he's executing a plan. So either way, he's done a really good job of controlling at bats, however that is.
How have you seen him develop in that nature, just kind of showcasing that patience?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing him mature as a hitter, both right and both left. You're seeing having just more consistent at bats and not going out of the zone. And when he is going in the zone, I mean, he's taking aggressive swings. I mean, he had the RBI today. I mean, that ball was hit really hard. So as long as he's swinging at balls in the strike zone, I think we're in good shape. And whether it's pitching around or he's not chasing, one of the two, it's leading to really quality at bats.
Earlier in the game when he was on first and Chirillo was on third, was there any thought of possibly sending him to possibly go steal with the way he's stealing, and then also if they make that throw, then Chirillo could possibly break?
Yeah, you're also dealing with guys in the middle of the field that throw really well. And, if you watch the play, Manny's standing almost right on top of Chirillo there, so that leads to less of a break. And then you're talking a starting pitcher that's running about a 1-1, 1-2, so, and a guy behind the plate that can really throw. So even though O'Neill's 13 for 13 or 14 for 14, I mean, there has to be obvious situations in terms of where you're gonna get. Now, if Manny vacates there and he's off, then maybe they're not throwing and maybe you have a situation. But with Manny standing where he's at with Tree, with Brian at the plate, you could be running into a bad situation. And then you run into that situation, you get an out. The flip side of your question today could have been, why don't you let Brian Reynolds hit in that situation? So there's a lot of factors that go into that. Where the third baseman plays is a huge factor in terms of that. And then, you know, what the pitcher's timing is, and then the guy behind the plate comes into play also.
Yesterday, you were asked about the slump and what's gone wrong recently, and pitch execution had been a big part of it. Today, you kind of get the pitches, but the offense isn't there. Does it just feel like it's something different that's happening every game that's leading to these struggles?
Yeah, and I think that goes back to part of the question that was asked is like, just we have to be more consistent in total. I mean, we threw the ball really well today. You know, there were times we had really good at bats. We didn't get a big hit. So I think it comes back to that consistency point.